Hi, I'm Kelly Hogan, and welcome back to my Zero Carb Life. So last Saturday's video, I talked about fat fasting, 117 days of pure fat in the year 2025. There was a lot of number talk, calories, percentages, fat, protein, lab work, HDL, LDL, so many numbers. And today is not going to be that kind of video. I will link to it below in case you missed it. But I want to discuss a video I saw on someone else's channel. It was Dr. Annette Bosworth's channel, and she was interviewing a behavioral psychology expert, Chase Hughes. I will definitely link to her video below. It was great. He was great. They're both great. He got into a lot of in-depth how the brain works when it comes to addiction and making change. Oh, I was eating it up. I loved it. But there were 3 sort of actionable activities that I picked up on. I thought, oh, this would be fun for me to try. And once I tried it, I was like, okay, we have to do this as a group with my group members. And we all got so much out of it that I wanted to pass these 3 things on to you today. Hey, real quick before I get to this very first activity, my husband just reminded me to let you know that I will link in the description box to our new Facebook page. My Zero Carb Life finally has its very first public Facebook page. This is the first time that I've mentioned it because it has not been there for long, but it's a place where I can share articles, updates, blog posts, videos. And for those that are already in the group, which I'll tell a bit more about at the end, but the group already gets daily interaction. This will not be daily interaction and what I eat in a day every single day, but this public Facebook page will have some resources there. So if you would like to find it, please link below. If you would like the daily interaction and more individual one-on-one help when you need it, that is offered for group members, and that information is below as well. Okay, let's get to the first slide. Okay, here's activity number 1. Go to www.chatgpt.com. It is a free website. I know they have paid versions. I know you can get the app, but this is just the website. And if you just plan on using it occasionally, even 2 or 3 times per day, you can just use the free version. If you're uncomfortable with using chatgpt.com, that's okay. This only applies to the first of 3 activities, but I'd love to show you the results it gave me because it kind of blew my mind. All right, I followed Chase's suggestion and I typed this in. On the left is a photo of me at around age 25. I felt lousy, ate junk food, I was sedentary. True. On the right is myself now, age 47. I was actually 46 here, but close enough. I just had a birthday last week. Now I feel so much better after cutting out carbs, becoming more active. So, ChatGPT, can you show me a side-by-side progression photo of myself at age 60 if I'd stayed on the old path versus the new path? As I continue lifting weights twice per week while walking, drinking lots of water, eating good foods. I'd already told it, cut out carbs. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar with ChatGPT, if you go to that website, it'll just have a search box. So Chase, in the video, he didn't show exactly how to do it. He just gave some suggestions. So I'm really trying to encourage you today. I think this is a powerful activity, and dozens of my group members also tried this, and we looked at them together as a group, and it gave me a huge emotional response that has seemed to be very effective over the last few weeks since we tried this together. Okay. If you click the plus sign there, then a little menu will appear and you can just add photos or files and add a photo of yourself. If you don't yet have a before and after, you could just take a photo of yourself right now and say, I am doing carnivore and I'm walking. If I continue to stick with, and you can tell it the healthy habits you've adopted or the ones that maybe you haven't started yet, but you really want to do, and then ask for what would I look like in 30 years if I do versus don't make these changes. That's it. And then hit enter. Okay, so here we go. Old photo, new photo. If you look at my face before and then look down here, this is the projection of what I would have been like at age 60 if I had not started carnivore and made changes. This is the prediction of me at age 60 if I stick with what I'm doing now. Okay, hello. I would, I would take that. So then I asked, could you also do age 70? And this is when I was like, whoa, age 70 if I'd stayed on my old path, and age 70 if I stay on the new path. This photo, when I first saw it, gave me an internal anger reaction. And I do not tend to be an angry person, but it actually made me mad. And I don't think I was mad at ChatGPT for coming up with it. I don't think I was mad at myself. Who was I mad at? I don't know. The medical system, the horrible advice I was given, the fact that that literally could have been me and I wouldn't have even known if it weren't for my doctor. The fact that this is how many people end up who were never told the wonderful advice I was told, which was cut out carbs, eat meat, allow your insulin to come down, get your glucose down, take walks after meals. You know, around here, we know so much good stuff. When I look at that photo, I went from angry to then within a day or so, it just made me sad. And now when I look at it, I just feel like a rejection of no and a sense of gratitude. Like, that could have been me, right? And I showed this to my dad, and my dad, who knew me back when I really was very sick and unwell, obviously, he's known me since birth. He knows what I've been through. He said, I'll be honest, I don't think you would have made it that long. And that's kind of sobering to hear. And I think he's probably very right. Okay. The second activity suggested by Chase Hughes, I will also combine it with that first activity, but he said to write the opposite of what you know is true, so it will create this cognitive friction. So basically, you're just making your brain feel really agitated from hearing something that you know is false. And your brain will then start giving you the reasons that it is dead wrong. So for example, the taste of this sugary junk food is worth dealing with the cravings, discomfort, dementia, boils, IBS, and obesity. My family doesn't deserve the best version of me, so I'm just going to eat what I want and let them take care of me later. I don't even like saying it, right? Like my brain comes up, let me at it. We don't want any part of that. So I combined this activity with the first one, and I created this. We've got the photos, and then I put that little couple sentences that I just read to you, and then I wanted to address that's lies. It's all fake, false lies. And the truth is, I am going to take care of the body I've been given. I do not want to be a burden to my family. I want to be helpful to them. I want to be the helper, not the dependent. So I'm going to make the choices that I can, control what I can to take care of this body, and I'm just going to continue to ask God to bless these efforts. And that's it. That's all I can do. So I typed that up with these, and I also put a few things at the bottom that it sort of made me think of when I see these photos. Like, for example, I don't get the feeling that I could well clean myself. Now, y'all, this is one of my whys. Another activity that we did, I don't know, a month ago or so in the group was to dig down layer after layer to get to our real why. Why do I do this? It is no longer about, well, I want to keep off that last 20 pounds. Sure. Okay. It's no longer even just about the 130 pounds. That doesn't get me emotional. In order to make a change, Chase was saying that we need to hit a nerve, basically. Find something that gives us a gut reaction. And to me, I want to be able to clean and care for myself as long as possible. And I know that part of the reason I feel so strongly about that is I am a fairly modest person. I like my privacy. And I also watched both of my grandmothers lose their independence and lose their privacy. And us as family members, we had to do all of that care for them. And I remember just thinking then, I don't want that. I want to be able to take care of all of my cleaning and bathrooming and showering for as long as possible. And because that strikes a real nerve with me, it's a solid why. Now, I don't cry about it. I don't have a why that makes me cry because I'm just not a crier, but I have a why that makes me feel passionate about doing what I'm doing. So I would encourage you to look for that. But this picture shows me sort of that why in photographic form. I can just imagine that now at that point, I would be eating just junk, sedentary, not going to the gym, probably not even enjoying the junk food that I'm eating anymore, but it's probably the only thing I have left. I want no part of this. Now, when I see this projected photo of myself at age 70, I think I look very independent and confident, stylish. I'm kind of digging the teal suit. I look happy. It makes me think, okay, my husband, Dr. Hogan, I hope you are also taking good care of yourself because you need to be able to keep up with me and take me shopping and out for a nice steak. I look like a woman who is about to go enjoy a fine steak with her good-looking husband, who takes walks daily, who lifts weights a couple times per week. I like this. This makes me feel good. One of our group members, Craig, this was him before carnivore. This is him as a carnivore. He has been on the channel at least once before. His wife has been on my channel a few times before, but he asked ChatGPT, I have his permission to share this, to share his projected photos. This is what it projected if he had not changed his ways by age 70 and age 80. And if he does stay carnivore and keep taking his hikes, he hikes a lot with his daughter. And yeah, he's like, well, that's a no-brainer. But again, even without ChatGPT, I already say, yeah, that's a no-brainer. And that was sort of the conclusion that a lot of the group members came to, was their own personal experience. Real life without ChatGPT was enough for them to know, okay, we are going to keep eating our animal products, keep staying active. Yes. But then when they were able to see, as habits go in one direction a long ways, those results snowball. And if they see the snowball in this direction versus the snowball in the other direction, it becomes just even more pronounced. And it's so much easier to say, okay, that's the direction I want to go. So Chase Hughes said that if a doctor's words can give you a gut reaction, an emotional response, then it may be enough to inspire change. And my doctor did. He was blunt with me. I cried. He said, if you don't lose at least 100 pounds, you're going to have to keep getting these boils lanced until one of us dies. I had an emotional reaction, and that was the last day I ate bread, fruit, pasta, carbs, potatoes. Not a single day after that conversation. He put some fear into my soul, and my soul needed it. I needed fear and I needed answers, and he gave me both. So Chase suggested that we take sort of that photo collage that I just showed you and the paragraph. I printed it out. It is hanging there on my fridge. And also hanging on my fridge above it is a photo of myself as a little girl. This is probably about kindergarten. And I have heard people say that we worry so much about the opinions of everyone else, when in reality, the only people's opinion that should matter more than anything else is us as a child and us when we are elderly. I don't know, whatever you consider that to be. 100, your 100-year-old self. Now, don't get me wrong. There are many people in my life whose opinions I do trust. I love my husband. And if I were to start making life choices that made him go, whoa, now, then I respect him enough to go, oh, okay, well, let's think through this together. But genuinely, when I look back on who I was as a little girl, what I believed to be true, what I wanted for my life, and when I think about my future self and all of the decisions that I will hope that I made now in my 40s, then yes, I do think that these two people, it's me. I do think that their opinion also matters. Certainly more than some random stranger on the internet who tells me they think my diet is weird or unsustainable or unhealthy or not good for the environment. It's like, okay, yeah, but you've never been you've never been little girl me and you're never going to be 80-year-old me and you're not married to me and I don't know you. So I'm going to probably keep doing what's best for me. Oh, and going back to this, when my children saw this hanging on my fridge, my youngest, Annie, she is the one that stared at it the longest. I was wondering, what is she thinking? And she finally turned and said, Mom, please always do carnivore. These pictures gave her an emotional response. And I was like, baby, no worries. I have no intention on doing anything else. Now, speaking of Craig, his wife, Nannette, is one of the 4 assistant coaches in my group. And they have 2 grown daughters, but they are still the full-time caregivers to one of their daughters, their eldest, who needs them around the clock. I mean, they do everything for her. So that's just a bit of background information. But when Nannette and Craig, husband and wife, started carnivore together, I think it was a little bit of a tougher sell for Craig to give up all sweet taste and carbs than it was for Nannette. And so she said, she wrote this in a post on one of our Facebook pages. Whenever he was headed towards eating non-carnivore treats, we agreed he absolutely could. But first, he had to pick one card from the deck. It was a deck of cards that she had made for him, about 20 cards. And he had to say it out loud. Then he could put that treat into his mouth. And she said he never once did it. In fact, all she would have to say is, before you eat it, just go read a card. She said he wouldn't even have to go read the cards again. He would just put it back and be like, oh, not worth it. So what did she put on these magical cards? Here are a few examples that he would have had to read. This food is worth Nannette sleeping in another room because of my snoring. I'd rather have this food than be able to play with my grandsons. My back pain before carnivore wasn't that bad, truly. I think the momentary taste of this food is worth having it back. Oh, well, I've talked to Craig. He assures me it was that bad. And this is the kicker that got me. If I, Craig, die younger and leave Nannette to care for Lauren on her own, I'm okay with that because the taste of this food is so worth it. Well, now you know why he didn't eat it. What a solid reminder, just hearing those words, because that's what he was saying by saying, no, I don't need to stick to this plan that gives me better health and more mobility. So this tool, many of my group members have been trying it. And one lady, she was really struggling. She struggles with mental health and some bipolar symptoms come back, blazing back when she has carbs. So she'll do carnivore for a while. She gets to feeling good. It's like, well, just a little bit won't hurt. And it does. It hurts a lot. So she did this. She wrote down some things about how the symptoms and problems that come back when she has carbs last so much longer than any mouth pleasure that she got in those few moments. And since we did this activity together, she has been consistent. She is feeling so much better and stronger, and it's getting easier because now she's in the habit of having these thoughts, thinking of her future self. Speaking of future self, Chase Hughes also talked about the butler trick, in which you do little things that will benefit yourself tomorrow or in the future. So let's say you're about to go to bed and, the kitchen's a little messy. And you think, well, I'll wash that pan in the morning. I'll do it tomorrow. Of course, we all know the worst is, oh, my gas light came on. I'll do it in the morning. We know that's so bad. You're sitting in the school line, the school drop-off line, traffic isn't moving, and then, why didn't I do it yesterday? Not in the morning. Well, he says, by doing little things, giving yourself little blessings for the next morning, whether it's getting that gas tank filled up, washing the pan, maybe if you make tea or coffee in the mornings, you have your things set out, you've wiped down the counters, maybe you laid out your clothes the night before or your gym clothes the night before, whatever it is, you have given your tomorrow self just a little leg up, a little gift. And so the next morning, recognize that. I have talked about this on the channel, but I never thought of it as the butler trick. But you're just doing something to serve your future self so that the next day you can look back at even little things when you see that clean skillet and those wiped down counters, or you see the little tea bag or coffee set out. Say, thank you. Thank yourself out loud. And what is the point of all this? Finding little ways to honor yourself in the future and then making sure to acknowledge that then teaches us how good that feels. You literally get a little dopamine kick from realizing, hey, I did that for me. And hey, it felt good to be grateful to my own self for these choices. And that's kind of just what discipline is. Choosing right in this moment to honor yourself in the future more than you honor momentary pleasures of just a second that will pass. And it might start with, it would be more fun to go to bed right now than to wash the skillet, but I will do it for me tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow. Yeah. But that builds to things like, it would be more fun to eat this garbage today at this party, but then tomorrow you have to deal with it. So, okay, I will make the long-term harder decision, which will then benefit me into the future. And this is the third activity that some of us did. So the first one was the ChatGPT projections. And then the second one was where we made these statements that sort of created the cognitive friction. Statements of, eating this today will be so worth the pain, the weight gain, the lack of sleep, the inflammation that I will feel tomorrow, when we know that's not true. So we start to argue it out with our brains and then choosing our future self. But then this third one was acknowledging our past self. So this was me prior to carnivore. And in the past, when I have shown a before picture, I felt a sense of shame about who I was. I have even had people comment through the years, how did you ever let yourself get so unhealthy and overweight in the first place? And that's sort of what I felt. I harbored feelings of, how did I ever let it get so bad in the first place? Well, one, I was given really horrible nutrition advice. Number two, even if it was good advice, I couldn't stick to it. It was just so unsustainable for me. And three, sometimes we cope in the only ways that we knew how. So I was coping with life with the strategies I had been given, which was mostly, oh, sweetheart, are you having a hard day? Have some sugar. Okay, so let's first of all forgive ourselves for not doing better when we didn't know better. But then I think we can even take it this step further. And I actually wrote this note to myself. Dear younger Kelly, thank you. Thank you for caring enough about me today that you actually listened to your doctor when he told you to cut out the carbs. Thank you for caring about our future children and your future self so much that you did the hard things. You hadn't even met these babies yet and you wanted to live for them. You stopped eating all the foods that at that time you loved and relied on for comfort, and that was not easy. You did the hard things back then so that now I can have this easy, healthy, happy life. You did the hard work, so we get the benefits today. You are amazing. I am so grateful for you. I think of you almost every single day. You did the heavy lifting, and I'm just thankful for you. Doing that activity and reading that letter multiple times has already changed how I look at my before pictures. I looked at her as like, why couldn't you get it together? No, she did get it together. She was struggling back then. She was working way harder at everything than I'm working now. Now it is so easy. It's not that I don't do the work. It's just easy to do it. I'm just eating meat and taking walks. This young woman, she was doing the rice cakes, the running, the yo-yo starving, sure, there were binges, but there were also long periods of just eating so little because she didn't know what else to do. And then when she did get good advice, she's the one that did it. So, hey, maybe stop being ashamed of who I was, because that young lady put in the work. Now, I know it is much easier to do activities with a group of people than it is to just watch a YouTube video and be like, okay, I'm just going to go on my own and do these 3 assignments. So yeah, if you need a group to do things with, well, I've got one, but also you can do these on your own. I did these 3 activities on my own before I met with the group. I wanted to see how they sat with me for a while. So I did them and sort of ruminated about it for a week to see, did it make me feel encouraged? Did it make me feel a little more motivated and inspired to keep going? And it did. So I decided to do them then with the group. And yes, it was very fun to see other people's projection photos and to hear their letters to their former selves. Many said, oh my word, it brought tears to my eyes, and they wanted to share it with us, and to hear what their cards had said and how it had helped them. So I do love the group aspect, and I would love for you to join us. We do things together. I share with the groups every single night. And yes, there is a handbook, and there's a TDEE, and there are 4 live Zoom meetings every month. But there's also that daily interaction of, hey, I did my checklist today. I thought of you, and I didn't want to not keep my word to you. So I followed through. That kind of support is what made me make the daily changes that really have changed my life. And if any of you who maybe you aren't group members, but you just watch on Saturdays, if you think any of these activities could be helpful, or if you have any additional thoughts, please comment below, at least say hi. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for showing up today. I think many of you know this, but on Saturday mornings when the video comes out at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I am in the comments box answering everything just as quickly as I can until I get through all of them. By the end of the video, I am caught up. I've commented to everyone who has asked or shared anything. And so if you ever want to come during that exact time, it's fun. It feels like we're all just watching it together and commenting together. And then after the day the video airs, I am not quite as diligent in the comment section because I am teaching classes and doing activities and working on a video for next Saturday. So hopefully I will see you then. Thanks for being here today. Bye.